Okay, so I'll call the Wyndham Park Board of Directors meeting for March to order. We've got March 22nd, 2022. And we have all of our board members except for Andy Emerson on the call, which is great. And then we have some special guests who want to talk about a new initiative, and we're excited to hear about it. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick and go over the agenda. So I added one item since sending it out to the board, but we're going to hear from the folks from the Pillsbury PTO. And then we have some administrative tasks that we want to take care of. We just want to review the board contact info. So Pillsbury folks, once you're done, obviously you can drop off. You're welcome to stay if you like and participate. It's a public meeting, but we'll leave that up to you. We'll talk about rain gardens and next steps. That's what I added in here. Pretty straightforward. There's not much we really need to discuss other than just putting us all on the same page. We've got some amendments to the Neighborhoods 2020 funding model that came through. They added a little bit more money to everybody's accounts, which is great. So we'll just touch on that. I'd like to talk about the May neighborhood meeting. And then the last big task, which is pretty important for our call tonight, is going to be going through the annual report review for the CPP funding model. I have the link and it's over here. It's in SurveyMonkey this time, which is great. And it should be pretty straightforward, but I just wanted to run through with everybody so that we can approve it. And we need to put our stamp and date of approval. Then at the end, depending on timing, I wanted to take this chance to review the new board member onboarding packets for Doug and Thomas and Andy. So when we get through all that, if we're all still feeling good, then we can get to that number 7. Any thoughts or questions from anybody?
When do you address, I'm sorry, I was wondering when you address resident questions. I'm just a viewer tonight.
Oh, great. I guess maybe we do that at the front.
Okay.
Depending on your question, let's do it after the folks from the Pillsbury PTO are on. How would that be?
That's fine.
We don't often have residents come in for questions and comments. You're very welcome to do it, and we're glad you're here. But
okay.
So that's why I don't have a time slot on here for you.
Well, it does state that residents and those with questions are welcome on the website.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
Okay.
So we'll add that in as item number 2 then, and then we're happy to hear from you. And then did I hear something from you, Doug?
No, Robert, that was me. I'm curious, did you want to talk about the DocuSign issue 2? That's certainly not high priority, but we had talked about it before.
Sure. Let's just put that in here. Mostly it's just approving that we want to get a license. So maybe we could just do that right now. Joe, you and I had talked about getting a DocuSign license. Do you still feel good about that?
Yeah,
and
totally.
The rest of the board?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Thomas, do you happen to know what the pricing on that is?
It's $120 outright for 1 year. So $10 a month, or $15 a month if you were just to pay it on a monthly basis. I may not have explained that right.
No,
$150. Yeah, sorry, $120 for a year or $15 a month.
If you pay monthly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So you get a little bit of a deal. Joe, any preference? I mean, saving a little money seems good, but
what's the, I mean, I obviously know it's for signing documents, but do we have some need for this license? I just curious.
Well, right now we have, it's just the free trial license. So as we get like rain garden contracts, and then we expect to see more contracts coming through just the organization as we get our programs, up and running and new things coming online. So it makes it easy and convenient, and then also gives us a nice track record. So instead of having to print off and sign and scan and then resubmit, it's pretty handy. So that was where our position was. We haven't had too many needs, but we did several of them as we did the transition to the CPP funding model, or no, Neighborhoods 2020 funding model. Mm-hmm. So.
And also for my position as well.
Yep.
One thing I would suggest, or maybe put out for consideration is that a monthly basis might allow us to opt out of it if we're not finding that we're using it beyond some of the plans that we have for this month.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that it probably rings truest. There's a couple of, yeah, whatever we hit, like you said, a contract amendment or modification. That seems to be about it. I'm trying to remember if at the end of the calendar year when we did taxes and stuff, whether we needed it then, but no, I don't think so then. So yeah, maybe the month to month might be the best bet here.
Everybody good with that?
Yeah, kind of as needed. Sounds smart.
Sure. Very good. So I'm going to stop my share. You good with that, Thomas?
I am good with that. I'll sign up for month to month and let you all know if there's any need for additional input.
Great. Thank you much. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, you bet.
So let's switch to and hand it over to the folks from Pillsbury. Is that Chris and Luis?
Yeah.
Am I saying Luis? Am I saying your guys' names correctly? Perfect.
You
Thank
even
you for
got my
joining
name
us.
right, and my name is harder. So way to go. All
You
right,
get
thank
bonus
you so
points if
much.
you can say my last name.
I literally had to
Luwatsky?
text her. I was like, if they
Luwatsky?
ask me how to pronounce it, I don't know how to do it. You got to tell me. Savoy,
Nobody does.
right, Louise?
Savoyski, yeah.
Savoyski. Nice.
I just thought of red Savoy, and I was like, Savoy.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's great.
Yep. All
Well,
right.
we've as an organization, I just wanted to say that we have been talking about the relationship that we have with the school, Pillsbury School, and we had Jessica Skoranek on as a board member
Yeah.
for a little while, but she seemed very busy going
She is.
A
through.
little bit.
Yeah, and so she's no longer on the board, which is perfectly acceptable. But yeah, we'd love to get a stronger relationship with you guys, with your organization, with Pillsbury School. It's a great resource for the community. And Thomas is a former parent, and sounds like Andy is a parent in Pillsbury right now too. So yeah, glad you could make it on, and we're happy to hear about your new program coming up. So why don't you take it away?
Thank you. Yeah, well, my name is Chris. I am the Pillsbury PTO co-president, and I'm also a mom at the school. My son is in second grade. I'm a local marriage and family therapist, and we're coming to you to also talk about, in general, the relationship we want to build with your organization. And it's very exciting to announce that we are back to planning events again after the dry desert of the last 2 years of many Zoom activities, which are, all right, but they're not as fun as in person. So we have our biggest event that we have planned this year is actually coming up in June. And so we want to take a few moments to talk about it and then let you folks know what we are looking for and how we want to get the community to support this event. It's our summer carnival, which I think, Louise, is it June 3rd?
I have everything pulled up. I'll look as you talk.
It's the Friday, I think it's the first Friday of June. And we are so excited. This is an event that's been happening years before I came onto the PTO. And this year, we're trying to fit in a lot of things that will pull the community together. We are hosting it at Wyndham Park, and by design, we wanted it to be something that wasn't just about Pillsbury staff and students and families. We wanted it to be something that people can look down the hill from their homes or around the neighborhood or pulling in other neighborhoods and really bring us together. We are all so thirsty for in-person community. Really hope that the rain gods smile upon us and just leave us alone for this day. So far what we have planned is our big events. Part of this is that we're going to have a fun run for the kids at Pillsbury, because apparently children like to run in circles for no reason and like raise money and get grandma and grandpa to give money for that. So we're sponsoring, or we're asking them to fundraise for a fun run. They're going to be doing that in the park. There is going to be live music and a DJ. So we're going to set up an area where we will have local artists, local DJs, local musicians, and we're working on building a lineup that's going to hopefully bring in some of the community too. And we have food trucks that we're working with. We are currently talking with Anchor Fish and Chips, which was my personal, like, please, 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 please come do this. But we really want to represent, we're talking also to Minnesota Nice Ice Cream. We're really trying to keep it Northeast focused and bring a lot of the businesses together. We've got a silent auction that we'll be doing. We've got carnival games for the kids. What am I missing, Louise? Anything here?
Sorry, just the sirens are going by.
It's okay.
So traditionally, the carnival has been kind of games focused. So we want to keep some of that there. We want to do the games. We'll still do, before it was called Tiny Town. So, games for kind of the preschool, pre-K kiddos. But also, in addition to the run, it's always been, so this is my first year at Pillsbury. We live right across the street from it, and we're incredibly happy there. So we're happy to be part of it. But we've always, we've gone to the carnival, even not as families associated with the school. So keep it in that spirit of, yes, the run will be for the kids, but having things that the community can join in. One of the things we're looking at is having to be a little bit, in the case that there's another spike, a dunk tank rather than bouncy houses. We've had a number of people who have offered to be part of that.
Like guest dunkies.
Yep. Yeah. So working with the NEMS staff, or maybe a couple staff from there, to kind of introduce them to the kiddos at Pillsbury, and then some Pillsbury, and Jess is pretty much up for anything. So probably she'll make a cameo in the dunk tank. So just things that the community can be involved in, but also having kind of a specific Pillsbury family event.
Yep. We do foresee this as an ongoing event, hopefully knocking on all the wood I can see in, being able to do this every summer, not having any more pandemics or uprisings or anything like that. So we are coming to you all with an ask as well. We are stretched very thin right now. Our PTO is essentially sustaining our community in whatever ways, resources, some financial, some emotional labor, some actual tasking for the teachers and staff and students and families. And so we don't feel like we can really go into our own community the way that we used to fundraise. Additionally, our school's has a chunk of the population that is at or below the poverty line. And it's beautiful because we have a ton of opportunities for us to grow and become more accessible, and think about how we can fundraise in ways that can invite those people in. And also we are turning to our community to ask for whatever resources are available. We are hoping to raise $15,000 for this event to pay for everything up front, including all of the musicians and artists. We want to build good relationships with them, hopefully having them come back, and really just not put as much pressure on the families and teachers, because they've been through a lot this year. So we're coming to you all with what you can offer to help us get to our goal. I would also personally love to know if you're like, hey, there's this like real wealthy restaurant owner that loves to just hand money to schools that need it. If you know somebody like that, if you've got a Daddy Warbucks in your life, like, let me know, because I would love to reach out to them. But that's also our ask, is any resources that you have access to that we can put to the fund this, to not deplete the funds of our school and our community, would be amazing. Louise, I don't know if you have anything else that you want to say for that.
I think what we're, to Chris's point, kind of where we're at with, 2 years into the pandemic, and now with asking parent, we're leaning heavy on parents to help support the teachers. We're feeling as though we need to go outside our immediate Pillsbury community, because people are spread thin and people are tapped and people are tired. Our kind of goal, I think ongoingly, this will be much more of a robust fundraiser, whereas this year we're not necessarily looking to make So other schools, to give some context, these fun runs are put on by third-party companies, and other schools in the area are raising $20,000, $25,000, $30,000. We're not looking to be that aggressive this year. We're looking for some fundraising, but also some community building, as we all hopefully before too long we're back together, and we're really looking to build that community, especially after 2 years of not, as with the CDD, that half of Pillsbury is new and parents can't really go in the school, and it's a good opportunity to come together and do some community building with, Pillsbury. Yes, we're in Wyndham Park, but we pull from a lot of Northeast, after the CDD, we pull from the biggest swath of Northeast, I think, than any other school. So just having that opportunity to kind of get to know each other for the first time, outside the PTO, I don't know a ton of Pillsbury parents, and it's been great just being in the community, but just an opportunity for us to all come together.
Yes.
And to Chris's point, build relationships with local artists and businesses, and not ask them after 2 years of being financially strained, not asking them to just donate their time.
Yeah.
Which is something that's really important to us as a PTO, is to recognize that they are talented people. And while they might be willing to donate the time, we need to recognize that it's been a tough 2 years for everybody.
Yeah. So we don't want to bogart all your time. We will
Yes.
take what you can give us. We will also take any recommendations or ways that we can zhuzh this party up to bring the community together. We love to plug in where the PTO is trying to really reach out beyond just our community and be known in the greater community. So thank you. I don't have anything else to say, and I'm sure y'all have to discuss. But if you have any questions for us, let us know here. Otherwise, we'll let you carry on with your business.
Also, any ways that we can partner with you guys. I don't know how many board members actually live immediately in Wyndham Park, but any ways that as a Wyndham Park resident and a PTO board member, I can help. I'm happy to do that. In any way that we can kind of build that partnership a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it sounds really fun. And I think, on behalf of the rest of us, it sounds like a really neat thing. We've been talking about ways to engage the community and things like this. And, working with your organization is obviously a good fit. And really nice that you guys are taking the lead to do a fun community engagement activity. I think, like you said, there's a pretty big appetite to get out and see some people and move around a little bit. So I think that's great. I've got a couple of questions for you right off the bat. So you've got the 15K as the ask, and seems very reasonable. Is this a fundraising event for the PTO and for Pillsbury, or what's the outcome or the goal of the event? Is it just community building? Can you tell us a bit about that?
That's a good question. It is a fundraising event for our community, and given the recent within the past 2 years events, we've also reset our vision as a PTO as not just in support of just the people who go inside the building, but we want to start creating a needs fund. Is there a family in the area that maybe used to be a Pillsbury student who comes upon hard times, or their house gets burned down or crashed a car into, or something like that, and then we can really use these funds in our community as well. So it will impact.
It was my house that a car hit. That's why.
Yeah, that's why I said it. She's the one on the corner that the car smashed into, if you see it. But yes, it is a fundraising event. We are hoping to re-up our books from this year, and needing to spend a lot sustaining our community.
And part of it is so much of what we're finding as we talk to teachers, and we do in our budget set aside a certain number of dollars for each teacher every year. But teachers spend so much out of their own pockets. So, having a little bit more disposable income, so that, when they spend $200, we can reimburse the full $200 instead of just, the $100 that we budget. Teachers spend a lot of time and money outside of what they get paid.
For sure.
So just to be able to participate in that a little bit more.
Yep.
Yep.
So based on that, and that makes sense. I think it's a great mission for the event. The only thing that comes to my mind, which we'd need to consider from our end, is all of our funding comes directly from the city. So, as we look at some of the NRP funds and some stuff that can go towards this potentially, is if these qualify, And it may very well, but it also might not. So that'd be something that we'll have to take a look at and just confirm. So 15K is your guys' goal for the event as that fundraising pool at the end of the event. Do you know what your hard costs are? So I'm just thinking of it from if we're partnering and, just if we, based on the parameters of where our money can go and what it can do, as opposed to just giving a bigger lump sum that you guys use at your own discretion. If there are costs and things that we could just pay for as an organization, that would probably be a little bit cleaner from our end as opposed to like a voluntary donation. So if there are those things from a business plan, from an event planning standpoint that you guys have, that would probably fall much more cleanly into what would be in our wheelhouse right off the bat. So, and you might not have those numbers and you might not have that stuff, and we don't need an answer right this second, but
No,
as
it's
we
okay.
go back and look at some of our end, because, we haven't, voted or discussed to approve, but we've got an
No, those
appetite
are
to
good
definitely help
questions.
and
I appreciate
and
it.
everything. So
I'm
Yeah.
looking at my numbers, gal. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
so
not-
I'm gonna make a note. One of the things that we have our next planning meeting next Tuesday. So I think post that I'll have a better idea of what each committee what their needs are. And then I'll put together a budget from there.
sure.
I could probably get something to you guys like not late next week, early the week after.
We also
Um,
have just off the bat, like a tier, like we're doing this event no matter what. So if
Right.
we can fundraise, we can pay the artists. I mean, I think a good chunk of that is being able to pay the artists close to how they would get booked for a different event, different venue. As far as the food trucks go, my dream would be to at least pay a subsidy amount of the food trucks cost so that we can offer it to the community either at a discounted rate or free in the dreamland that I would love to exist in. So it's that upfront cost. We are going to provide, beverages and carnival kitsch for the kids, the rental of the carnival equipment. And this is all dependent on, of course, what the numbers do. We're not going to have an inflated house of disease because that doesn't seem good right now. And so I would say our biggest chunk costs are the entertainment, the food trucks, the carnival equipment, and the potentially just like whatever extra little goodie bags for the community and the kids. We'd love to have all the kids come around, not just Pillsbury kids. So I know that's
Right.
super vague, but like Louise said, we could probably, if there's like chunks of that you want to say, yeah, we could tackle this part,
Mhm.
we can come back with a more
Yeah.
estimate
Yes.
budget.
Yeah,
Yes.
kitchen art good, food not so good. That's
Right.
yeah. Food, we literally have a legal prohibition. We
Got
can't
you.
Mhm.
Okay,
buy food.
Okay.
But art and kitsch,
Mhm.
that's a possibility.
Okay.
So we have,
Or kitschy art. We could also have
Kitschy
that,
art, even better, even better. I
Yeah.
have a
Reese,
house, but yeah, like Robert said, we have to kind of go
Yeah, that
back
makes sense.
and look at the budget line items and see what we can actually pull off.
Mhm.
Reese, I just wanted to say to you and Luis that I've been involved in some of the carnival planning in past years. It feels like forever ago now because it was
Mhm.
at least 3 years ago. And so I'd be happy to maybe sit on some of those conversations just to lend some of the past experience. I also had some experience putting together one of the events through Wyndham Park Citizens in Action, which the event used to be a connection between the neighborhood association and the school. And then the neighborhood association decided they wanted to pursue having beer served at the event, and the school decided to opt out at that point. And that's just before I came on the scene. And so I didn't want to disrupt any of those desires to have beers at the event. And so we did go forward with that, and it was a successful event. But that was kind of the evolution and the history of that partnership. Yeah, so I'd just be happy to share my knowledge on both of those events and just event planning in general. And I also have a couple of game ideas that I
Yes.
wanted to do 3 years ago, but
Now's your time.
This is
Get
it.
Get it done.
This is where.
From what we
Yeah.
understand, they're in a level of disrepair that will take some making. Okay. Thank you.
I could see some
Yeah.
Hammerschlagen sponsored by the tool library.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's just all get our stress out of the last couple of years out of there. No, we are looking forward to, like you said in your email, rekindling that relationship. We are in general hoping, you know, my term is 2 years and some of the board is also going to come with me into next year. So we do want to make this we're already getting buzz around for, you know, how we're showing up in the community, which makes me happy, but we definitely want to, I would love to invite you to our carnival planning meeting, which is next Tuesday, if you're available.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I'll send you the deets. We'll get
Yeah,
it.
that'd
Yeah,
be great.
5:30.
Yeah, it's
5:30?
at
Okay.
5:30. Yep.
And I just had one last question too, then is, you know, thinking a little bit bigger picture for engagement. Are there opportunities to volunteer? And this may come from, you know, the planning and how the details sort of firm up, but other ways for people to engage beyond just the financial too. You know, obviously fundraising is important, but because doing a, you know, email and communications from our end for people to volunteer and right, whatever the whole package looks like, knowing all those details will be valuable.
Definitely volunteers, just like, you know, bodies on the field where we're trying to, like, you know, run kids in the same circle. We also have a silent auction. So if you have a platform in which you can invite local businesses to donate things, we'll have a silent auction that's open to the whole community. If you know, if you are a kitschy artist, we can talk to you about having some kitschy art. Yeah, I love that. That's the spirit that we take on too, is that not every family can donate money, but some of them can donate time or art or crafts or something like that. So we will take your platform, even just spreading the news of the event on your social media or whatever that is too. That's helpful to us as well.
And volunteers, just from having served on a previous PTA, volunteers are always welcome because they're always short.
Yeah.
And from what
And
I
I would
understand,
personally like to not tax the teachers because they will step in. That's their heart.
right.
And we want them to be like, this is your party. Like, enjoy this.
And from what I understand, this is from a volunteer standpoint. We have volunteers from like 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. So the more people we can get to volunteer, even in, you know, an hour at a time, that helps a lot.
Yep.
Good. Any other thoughts or questions from the rest of the board or the group or anything?
I just wanted to clarify for our notes that's the first Friday in June. I'll look that up on the calendar unless someone has it off the top of their head.
So I looked back at the notes we had. I think we said the first Friday in June, but there is a little bit of flexibility there. We said June 3rd.
And the time on that?
From after school until 7:30.
So like
is that
3 to
1:50?
7:30? No, right now like 2:30 to 7. Yeah.
So I think there could be some flexibility in that time. I think as we kind of hone in on what we're going to do, if 5 hours is a reasonable amount of time, or if that starts to get a little bit long.
I think it's reasonable for all the planning that goes into it.
Yeah.
And also just kudos for getting going. It always felt like it was well into April by the time we were planning this. So you're doing well.
Thank you. We're all very type A. We need to have things planned.
I'd like to point out that we have a neighborhood meeting in May, which would be a great time for you guys to come with like maybe a presentation about what's going to be happening and who people can contact, just like a tight presentation for the neighborhood to see, you know, all that's going on.
Love it. We can do that.
Cool.
All right.
Well, good. Well, let's leave it there then. Thank you for coming
Okay.
on, and then
Thank you guys
thank you
so
for having
maybe in
us.
touch on it, and we look forward to seeing what the details are.
Yeah,
for sure.
Thank you.
That sounds great.
Thank you so much. We'll hear from you soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice night.
Bye.
Very cool.
Yeah, nice. Next item is Jane. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. If you hear any snoring, my dog is at my feet and he's snoring really loud. So,
No problem. Jane, before you begin, where do you live and how long have you been in the neighborhood?
I'm a 46-year resident of the Wyndham Park neighborhood. I live across the street from the tennis courts.
Great.
I live next to Andy McPartland, so right on 23rd Avenue, just a
All right.
little bit off Johnson, so.
Well, yeah, great. Thanks for being a longtime resident. We're all relatively new to the board, so you've probably engaged with Wyndham Park Citizens in Action many times over the years, but
It's been many years since I've volunteered. I guess I should get into it again now that I'm retired,
well,
so.
we have a great opportunity coming up on June 3rd if you have an open Friday. Mark your calendar.
Yeah, I usually attend, so.
What's on your mind?
Well, basically, I'm here. I need some clarification on interpretation of your security rebate, home security rebate.
Okay.
I tried to make a claim, and I really feel guilty burdening you people with this issue, but I tried to make a claim and I was basically turned down because I was told that my work was too old, but it is within the dates of July 11th, 2019 and now, which is what is on the paperwork. It's also what is on the web, on the application form and on the information sheet. So I was a little confused. And I really didn't know what else to do. I don't think this is right, so. I should tell you that the light that I had installed, and I have the original receipt and the electrician's installation, everything required. It was installed in 2019, and that was the issue, I think, with the person telling me that I wasn't going to qualify. So I don't
Jane,
know. what
Jane,
to-
I should chime in here. You and I talked, I think, Robert, that might have been my very first hour of working.
Yeah, sure.
But
Okay.
you were my test case for answering a phone call at the Wyndham Park
Oh, that was.
office there.
Okay.
So I apologize for not getting back to you. It's been a whirlwind of adapting to a lot of new information. I do have the application form in front of me, and maybe this is a good opportunity for us to all kind of learn about this. On the application form, it does read that the receipts dated between July 11th, 2019 and now, until funding is depleted from the project for which you are requesting a rebate, this amount will be reimbursed for not to exceed $200.
Right.
Robert or Joe, maybe you can chime in as well, but I believe what's happened here is that form did not get updated from year to year. So I think the intention was not for it to be projects running from 2019 and on, but more so from the fiscal year of 1 year to the end of the fiscal year the next year. Does that sound correct?
That does sound correct. And yeah, it's,
However, that is not what is out there on the web,
Right.
and on your paperwork.
right.
And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
kind of my issue. That's why
I would maybe put it in front of the board to consider honoring what's being advertised on our
Mhm.
website.
Yeah, that would not,
we aren't talking about $10,000.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I guess for me, the main question is, does the work qualify under the normal qualification rules other than the timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I said, I have the original receipt dated July 13th, 2019. I, for some reason, wasn't aware of this program. I'm not sure why, because I have taken advantage of some of the other programs, the loans and that. But so when I noticed it, I thought, wow, I still have this. So
Mhm.
I
And
went-
remind me, Jane, I think you have two projects that you were looking for funding.
Oh, I also installed 2 storm doors. I have 2 porches, one on each porch. And then actually one was done this year, well, not 2022, 2021. And one was probably done in 2020. And I was wondering about Ring doorbells too. Is that considered a security?
Mhm.
Mhm.
The rings are for sure. I don't know off the top of my head for storm doors. Joe, do you happen, Joe and Thomas, is that a yeah on the storm doors?
I
I'm not
believe
sure.
so. I think it has to qualify as like a security.
Yeah, you'd
storm
have
door.
to, a steel door kind of a thing maybe, but probably not a
Yeah, I
storm.
took 2 of those out. I didn't care for them.
Yeah,
So,
that's unfortunately a steel door is probably better than storm door.
Yeah, because if it's like a glass, like a weather door that you put in as a,
one
That's-
of them is, yeah.
yep, that might not qualify because that's not really a security item because it's pretty easy to
Okay.
get through that where, this is intended to be like deadbolts, ring security cameras, like you
Right.
mentioned, floodlights, those
Well,
sorts of
my
things.
ring is from 2020, so, I guess I would like you to consider
Mhm.
my original application being that I did it in response to information that I found on the
Yeah,
website.
certainly. Yep.
So
And that makes a lot of sense. And
that form really should be changed,
yep.
ASAP.
It should, and we will.
Yeah.
So thank
on
you
it,
for
Jane.
pointing that out to us too. So board, do you guys feel okay about, we'll have to maybe look at some of the
It
details
seems
of what
like-
your submission is.
It seems like it's a
Yeah.
clerical error on our part.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
As long as
Yeah.
the work is eligible, that's fine.
It should
Yeah,
be.
so Jane, the basic parameters are in a 1-year time frame. We have a fiscal year of July to June, which is why that form's probably dated, starting in July. Within that fiscal year time frame, you can do up to 1 claim for $200 per year. So our form's out of date. It's just a clerical issue on our end. So depending on the projects, if they qualify or not, and then when some of those were and what the total was. We'll have to maybe just work through that with you, Thomas and Joe, we'll take a look at it with you. We'll definitely be able to get some of that through. It's hard to say without looking at your details, whether or not we can do everything and what some of those timelines look like, but we'll just have to look at that paperwork in detail if that's okay.
Well, I was just going to submit the original security light, I'm not going to.
Yeah, what was the total price on that, Jane?
Well, with the electrician bill and the cost of the light was 70. The electrician was 250, so it's over the 200.
Mhm. And do we do labor on that, or is it just the physical materials, Joe and Thomas? Do you guys know?
We could do labor.
Okay,
I think it says installation.
sure, great.
Because I could not put it in myself. so.
Yeah. So it sounds like we'll be able to get you up to $200 back, so that'll be fine. And then,
Send me none or drop it off, or I don't know if anyone, I probably cannot get in your office, so I'll mail it in then.
sure,
I'm
yeah,
at
you
the-
could,
I'm at the
Yeah.
office pretty often these days, so
Okay,
if that's more convenient for you, feel free. But
Yeah,
if you want to drop it in the
probably
mail, that's
would
fine
be.
too.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't send it in because I wasn't
Mhm.
sure, if it was gonna
Yeah.
be a go or not. So what I thought I would come tonight and just see what the deal was, so.
Yeah. Sorry for the issue on the dating on that. But yeah, definitely either drop it in the mail or come by, give me a call when
Okay.
you come by. We do have a locked out exterior door.
Uh-huh.
But we're just inside of that exterior door. So
Okay.
feel free to come on over.
Interesting that I'm the only person that applied when I saw this.
You get a
no,
gold star.
yeah,
Oh, no, it's a very popular program.
Yep.
It's-
Is it? Okay,
yep,
all right.
yep. Thank you, Jane. Does that answer your question? Do you feel
Does,
Good, and-
yeah. Thank you.
awesome?
All right. And I don't have to hang around anymore. I This dog is snoring. like a
Okay.
dog,
You're
so-
welcome too, if you want though. So
Okay,
we
Thank-
appreciate you stopping in and hope you have a great night and look forward to getting that resolved for you and getting some money back in your pocket.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jane. See ya.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah.
Nice meeting all of you. Bye.
Likewise.
Okay, Wilbs.
All right. That was good.
I'm on it.
Thanks, Thomas. Item number 3,
And then
review.
Can we also update the form to say, just have no date and say July of the current year? Or find some
Yeah.
way to like not have it be something
Yeah.
that needs to be updated every year that we're gonna forget to do.
Yeah. Well,
I think-
that's a good point. I was wondering, what if we adjusted it so it was 12 months from this month? Because we talked about it when we were in the office where you have a
Yeah.
weird overlap of how that fiscal year works. Where if
Right.
it's like, you just did the work in April, but it switched over to the new year, then you might not qualify. But what if we did like a rolling 12 months from the date of submission?
Yeah, that seems like that would work. I'll have to think about why it couldn't work, but on the outset, that seems reasonable.
Basically, you
think it
get,
was-
you do your doorbell or your storm light or whatever, and then you get 12 months to get your form in. If you don't hit it within that 12 months, then you're too late.
Yeah,
Doesn't that involve us having to keep track of when people submitted their things last?
The
Yeah, we're on
submission
a-
period would still need to be per fiscal year.
Yeah, it's per fiscal year. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the base, that's the time requirement. It has to happen within our fiscal year. You're one reimbursement per fiscal year. That's what the criteria say. So
Well,
that's
so
why,
she's gonna probably say, well, in 2019, I did this light thing. In 2020, I did this thing. And
That's
then-
what I was thinking too.
Right, so
Yeah.
it's, I mean.
I think we should honor that just because it is wrong. It's egg on our face. But, I'm also in the back of my mind, Joe, I can't remember if Jane was the one asking for landscaping lights or if that was the other gal, Lisa.
it was Lisa on Lincoln who.
That's
still
what I
wants-
thought when she came on too. I was like, oh, I hope this isn't this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she wants, she had an electrician come out and put in a bunch of new transformers and lights on a landscape. Again, the receipt from the electrician said landscape lighting. And it was an old system. He would just kind of fix an old system and it's kind of a no.
Yeah.
But here, as long as it's new and
Mhm.
certainly last year's is good.
Definitely the ring. Yep.
So I feel like we maybe didn't resolve it perfectly. So on the form, when you update it, we can only do one submission per fiscal year, which is very straightforward. Does the receipt need to be within that same fiscal year, or can we have it be a rolling 12 months previous of when the project was completed, but it's only one submission per fiscal year?
That's the fly in the ointment. And I guess if we can keep everything straight, then, that might work.
I mean, how does that affect the accounting to then go back and say, this is applicable to this time period? And then this is, how does that change our numbers? You know what I'm saying? It just seems like something that would totally screw up all the numbers. And I think we sort of have to have like, okay, maybe this one,
Oh, we muted you, Tara, on accident. Sorry.
as long as it meets the security requirement. But I think we have to sort of think about, do we want to go back? Or do we just say, yes, this applies for this year, period, end of story? This is the.
That would probably be the cleanest when you say it like that.
To say it just within a calendar year, you mean?
It just
within
you
the
can't, you can't say this was applied to the 2019 fiscal period. The ring is going to be in the 2020 fiscal period. We have to have sort of it applies, we can apply the receipt, like the receipt is fine. It was done in the past, and we'll just apply it to this year. So next year, if you want to do something going forward, you have next year, but you can't submit a receipt from 3 years ago.
Right.
You know, this is a
No.
one-time.
Yeah.
No,
blessing.
no, in reality, the work has to be done in that year too.
Okay, so that makes sense. And I think you're right from an accounting, just making sure that we get everything to line up properly. So let's change the form. If you guys are okay with this, how about it's, which I think is how it is now, we'll just clean up the language of the work and the redemption have to be within the same fiscal year. So if you did it in April and you get to July and the new fiscal year starts, you missed it. But if you did the work in July, you can do it through until June of that fiscal year. So what we'll need to do there, instead of having the date of the year, is change it so that lines up so that it's clear that the fiscal year is July to June. And you have to be within that same fiscal year. And we can work through that language, Thomas and Joe and whoever else wants to take a look at that. But
The only reason I don't like that is because if you talk about a fiscal year, doesn't it usually mean October?
It's
no,
different.
it's different for everybody.
The state is on a June to, or July to June. And so is the city by default.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think there is room for confusion though, because like Robert said, there's different fiscal years for companies, and so people might have different reference points.
Mhm. So that's where we need to, I think, state that it's July of 1 year to June. You know, that's your period. You know, and we can include the dates, but it is one of those things where you run into something like this, where it's like, oh, have this old form, and you know, not that it's a huge deal. It's only $200, but
Yeah.
I think
And I
there
think we-
should be like maybe a month grace period too. I don't know.
Ooh, you really want to
No.
muddy the water.
No, and
Like-
I just think that it ending in June is like such a weird time.
Yeah.
It's just like, because when are the times that you're going to be doing things? It's going to be in the summer. So it's just like splitting
Well-
the summer in half, and it's this like nonsensical line that we're drawing.
technically
it
it's to
doesn't
the
make
benefit
sense.
of somebody in the neighborhood, though, if they're careful. They could do one in April and then they could do one again in August and then have two in the same summer, even though it's technically separate fiscal years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't
We're
know. I just
encouraging
think that we're gonna
craftiness.
run into like people being confused and be like,
I know this is really the first, I mean, this woman's issue is the first one that I've ever experienced, and I'm the one that's been approving these things for years.
Mhm.
It's the first one apart, again, although this other woman, Lisa, has fiscal year issues too, but of the, I would say hundreds of these that I've been involved in, there's really never been any kind of confusion over the fiscal year.
Well,
I
Joe, I have
definitely
to tell you,
fiscal year issues too, I think.
Joe, I'm
That's
going to be
kind of a
submitting
joke.
my own security rebate, so there might be some problems. I have these really nice mosaic tile stepping stones in the yard that I'm hoping that could be covered.
Don't trip.
Your jokes are hitting about the same, Thomas.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let's,
I also, maybe to round this out, I think it should be something that's digital. I think there's time and effort wasted on everybody's part
Mhm.
for a paper form. So that's,
Yeah, there's a lot of like forms and stuff that we can integrate on the website. So I think as we, in the short term, we can revise the language on the PDF version just to do something super fast. And we'll maybe route a copy just by everybody to make sure that it's square. But then looking at a better alternative to those submissions, I think is, or having multiple ways to do it. You know,
We would
is a
need
good way to
multiple
do it.
ways because the vast majority come in via mail.
Mhm.
Yeah, we need that. We need the paper version, but certainly going to a digital one would be fantastic.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's
Um,
table it there if we're okay, and then we'll circle back to it and get it resolved shortly.
Would it work for me to rework that and have it ready for our April board meeting?
let's shoot to do it sooner than that, just because it's hanging out there with old dates. And then we should be able to, I don't think
We
need
don't have to
any,
approve it.
yeah, formal like vote or anything.
Yeah,
No, we
it
did.
just, yeah, I can work with you on it, too. That's, Thomas,
Mhm.
that's fine.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's just
But I do
updating the
think they
clerical.
will start coming in here kind of quickly,
Mhm.
Yeah,
since it
like
is
Tara said, it's the time.
Yep.
Thursday notwithstanding or Wednesday, with 4 inches of snow, whatever we're gonna get, spring may get here.
That's what they say.
Great. Thank you. Good discussion. Review board contact info. You guys sent me that information. Thomas, you put together a spreadsheet for us. Did you get a chance to put in? I sent you the address information that I collected last time, way at the
Yeah.
last minute here, but
I didn't get a chance to put that in, but
Okay.
I think that was mostly actual mailing address, right? That you sent.
yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and then it's in there. So Thomas just sent out an email to everybody. So we have your addresses.
Yeah, so don't put in your addresses. You can save that couple seconds.
Yeah.
But your phone numbers, and I also had another field in there for just what people do or have done or what their skill sets are, just so I think we all can have a reference point as to what people's careers involvements are. That way we can stay in better touch and just in better sense of what assets we have on the board.
Nice. Yep. So maybe just take a minute to check that out sometime tonight or, in the next day or two.
Russ.
Yeah. Thanks for putting that together, Thomas. That'll be nice to have that. And then as a reminder, that's just internal use only too. So we won't post that on the website or anything.
That's right.
Number 4, update on rain gardens and next steps. So this is more just status update, I think. Jen from Metro Blooms has sent over the contract. They're approved for the 10 rain gardens from the labor standpoint. We talked about this a little bit last week on the call. We have a couple more submissions, so I think we probably have all 10 filled up at this point. And so what we'll do is, and they're already in Truestone, like you said, Joe, so we're in pretty good shape there. I was just waiting to just touch base with everybody here before we sign it. My only question that came to mind was, since the funding model has changed, the greening program, was that part of CPP or is that NRP? And I was just thinking from like a line item standpoint, we've got the money, but just do we know how we're gonna source it through the city now that the CPP is wrapped up?
It's always been NRP.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Mhm.
So that's pretty easy. So Thomas, let's have you sign that contract then. What I'd like to do is I'll sign any additional documents that come through related to this closing of CPP and rolling into the new Neighborhoods 2020 funding model, just because I've started, and then we'll have a nice clean line of signatures for any documents that come through. But
Yeah.
for stuff like the rain gardens with Metro Blooms, if the board is okay with it, we'll have Thomas start signing some of those. And on behalf of the organization.
Did
That
my
works.
submission make it?
So I wanted to ask before we get too far along, and also just maybe we can wrap up Robert's question there. Are you guys comfortable with me signing for that? And no offense if you're not.
Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
Okay. So Tara did send in a request for one, and I have not found where we have submissions for that or how the process goes. So I need to be enlightened on that front.
Sure. So before we answer Tara's question, I have this is in the that activity log document I showed you. I can send you resend you the link to it too.
Nope, I printed it out.
Okay.
Printer's working.
Great. So in there, one of the items near the top, row number 6, if you have the rows, that's where I've been keeping track of up until maybe last week or something. I had 8 people confirmed via email up through Anna McChain. So 1, 2, 3, and I'll share my screen here for this too. So
I
you
got
guys
you
can
now.
see what I'm looking at. Yep. So that's this group over here. And so I think we have a couple more that have come in since, and then Tara's, request is on here too. So there's a pretty good chance that we'll have more than 10. And because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right here. And basically it's first come, first serve, but the steps now are that we know what the costs are. Is Thomas, I'd like to have you reach out back to all these folks and let's reconfirm with everybody, because especially if we start to get more than 10, if we get a waiting list going, we want to get confirmation that we're going to be moving forward with these, because then we'll start building that confirmed list as we send it to Jen and their team, because then they can start doing their outreach and planning and getting that on the front end. Like you said on the call, we're, way ahead of the curve compared to most neighborhoods. So if we can get our rain gardens in at the beginning of the season, that's going to be all the better for us.
Okay, so it's just a call to confirm that still interested.
Yep. Yeah. So in that, and you can just do an email too. You can call if you want, but circle back with each one of the people that's submitted so far, and then confirm the details of the program, just high levels. Here's what we're thinking for timeline. Here's what we're thinking for cost, and here's what you can expect out of Metro Blooms. We're just looking to confirm that this is all good and you still want to proceed.
Gotcha.
I know Gail ran into some issues from time to time of people not ever really responding or confirming. So not often, but once in a while you'll get some of those. So as we get closer to that time where if we do have a waiting list and we have 2 or 3 people that, are on the fence or don't respond or something like that, we'll have to make a decision of how we want to handle that. But getting the confirmations in and knowing what they're going to be on the hook for and what the timelines are will be valuable to get back to Metro Blooms.
And if
And I think
people
one
are,
year,
I was just
yeah.
going to mention if people are mentioning that they want to slightly alter it by doing their own work, we're just going to say no.
right.
Is that what you're going to bring up, Joe?
No. I was gonna say
Oh.
1 year, well, yeah, last year we had that one. The guy wanted to dig up his whole yard. But he had his own Bobcat. But but there was, I think maybe 2 years ago, we had a lot more people interested than we usually did. And I think we actually did get 2 or 3 extra slots even into the season. Metro Blooms actually could find the labor to do it, and we found the money and just put extra money on the contract at that point, kind of late summer.
So it's good for us to have a waiting list, or at least kind of keep tabs
Definitely. I
on.
would definitely have a waiting list for sure.
Okay.
And then, so circling back to Tara's request is she wanted to get in on the rain garden program. We don't have any rules against it, and you're paying and you're a resident just the same as anybody else. Does the board have any concerns with that or anything? Like if we get into a wait list situation?
No, resident's a resident.
Yep. Okay.
Because I don't want to have to quit just to get a rain garden.
Oh,
I
she's throwing
mean,
down the gauntlet.
Yeah, no kidding.
don't make me do it.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that'll be fine. And Thomas, are you good with next steps on that for the residents? There's for sure a few that aren't on this list that are in the email that have sent in some information, I'm sure. So as you're looking through, if you don't mind, why don't you fill out this, add to this notes section and who the names are, just so we have some visibility as we're changing hands on it a little bit.
Okay. Gotcha.
That'd be great.
Sorry,
go
were
ahead.
you talking about the action log notes?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And that is a Wyndham Park document. So when you're logged into the 365 environment and you go into Excel online, it should be in there. So.
Okay. Yeah, I have it on the work computer, but didn't have it pulled up on mine here.
Yep. No problem. Good on that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Item number 5, amendments from Bob Cooper. Let me pull this up real quick. mostly this is just an information notice to the board, so we're all on the same page. The Citywide Neighborhood Network Fund, which we've been calling the Neighborhoods 2020 because CNNF is too long to say, but is increased by $5,000. So the city council, as part of its adoption of the new 2022 city budget, increased the base funding amount to $20,000 per neighborhood. It was $15,000. So this change is only for 2022, and next year the base amount will decrease to $10,000 per neighborhood. So that must have been pre-scheduled as part of the 3-year plan, the Neighborhoods 2020 plan, that it was 15 this year, going to be 10 next year, up to this year to 20, but we're going to be looking at a pretty significant drop in 2023. Then the Equitable Engagement Fund portion also increased by $66,500. So these were the uncontracted funds rolled over from our CPP program. And these funds need to be spent in 2022. They will not be rolled over again into the next year. So that's just a nice clean transition for all of that CPP funding that came through. I don't know, he doesn't state on here what our total is for the 2022 fiscal year, but we do have that in our documents for our budget year. I just don't have it off the top of my head. It's whatever our regularly assigned EEF funding is plus the $66,512. So we've got quite a bit of money there. It does restrict what we can use the funds for now quite a bit more. The CPP model was a little funny. It was a little hard to get money going just based on how our activity as a neighborhood was. I think this does loosen it up a little bit, but it puts it in a narrower spectrum. And then the eligible activities are for us are defined in that document that we put together that Andy took the lead on. Old Andy took the lead on that we did get approved for. So that's door knocking, and we can review that document some other time, but we have that equitable engagement activities. So
Is that document available on the 365?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'll have to circle back on that, but yeah, we'll need to get that cleaned up. That's on my list of things to circle back with you on as we are building this out, because we'll need to put together some action plans and timelines for how we want to capitalize on that. So that's going to be a near-term item that we want to tackle.
Okay.
And along these lines, did you see the email from Tim Dornfield on March 15th? It was in response to my kind of monthly stuff that I sent in. He did not generate the financial report for us this time.
Oh, he did. He sent it just to me.
Okay. Although there's issues, right? I mean, did he highlight the issues to you? One, he doesn't have the right forms to get the reimbursement. So, but he was asking for the forms. Secondly, the way we have the Neighborhoods 2020 overall budget categories broken out, we have staff expense, community outreach, printing and copying, and advertising. And Tim then points out that CenturyLink, so the telephone, the rent, and our insurance and other stuff don't fit into that. So the suggestion is to come up with some kind of an amendment. We have money. We have money potentially in that budget that we can play with, but we actually need new budget lines. So we're going to have to amend that somehow.
Okay. I don't remember seeing that. I wonder, when I do a search for it in my email, it doesn't rank it by date. It just ranks it by what it assumes is relevance, which is really annoying. So,
well, I think I know he copied Thomas on it because I copied Thomas when I submitted the information to Tim, just to give Thomas an idea of the kind of info that Tim needs to put the report together. But what I'll do, Robert, is I'll forward the message to you too, so you can take a look at it.
Okay. Seems straightforward enough, but something that we want to resolve sooner than later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
and the city didn't have a problem with our budget as we submitted it. So either
I think all Tim is saying is it's too limiting. It's too narrow. And it may be that, it'll spill over into, if we can figure out what we may or may not do with Pillsbury, we may need this an expanded category to do that too.
Got it.
Joe, would it
Although
make
we
sense
could
for
probably
us
just
to
call
get?
that community outreach, I
Sure.
don't know.
True. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good point. Would it make sense for us to get together sometime in the near term, in terms of check payments and
Yeah,
Going
for
over that.
sure.
okay, we'll touch base with you.
Okay. Because we do have an outstanding invoice with RTBIT also. I mentioned that, so that may be a good one to run through the system with.
Yep.
It's like $35 or something like that, but. Okay. Good on that. Did anybody have any questions on the update from Bob Cooper? Pretty straightforward. All right. Number 6, discuss content for the May neighborhood meeting. So what's nice about going every other month is we have a little bit more flexibility, which is awesome. I think the Pillsbury event is an obvious, main one that we can talk about. And your statement and request to them was great, I think, Tara. So I think that can be an easy, big item. We had talked about having a regular, just open slate for Elliott Payne, if we still want to do that, and then open it up to the group.
I guess I think that maybe we should highlight this thing with the security rebates for people, like the fiscal year changing and the hammer coming down, the guillotine. I mean, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm sorry. I just think it's like,
Apparently it is, Tara.
I mean, it's just very like, I don't know. This is when people do it in the summer.
Yeah.
People do this stuff. So
That's good. We want people to participate. That's a good notion.
Can we also use that opportunity to talk about the loan programs that we have? Thinking that coming out of winter, people are going to be looking and thinking, oh boy, my, I don't know, my house needs tuck pointing and,
Mhm,
I need new stucco and boy, a loan would be nice.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, maybe offering some examples about what people do. If we
Mhm.
want to get real creative, we could also maybe pursue some of our neighbors that have gotten loans and take pictures of their loan projects if they want. Maybe some people
Mhm.
won't want to do that, but
Just something to show off what we do. And we can't really talk about rain gardens if we're already have a waiting list, but we can talk about, we should talk about the other things we're able to fund.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure, we get a report from CEE on loan program activity, and I'm positive, I bet you they have a few pictures and little stories of a couple of projects that they could probably get.
okay. I'll touch base with them.
That seems pretty good. So maybe that's a complete meeting. And there's sometimes outreach that happens from some of our representatives too, like, so it's nice to have a little bit of flexibility to have something like that come up. So let's use that as our working topics for the May meeting. That sounds good.
And another thing with kind of hawking the loan program is that the more loans that go out, the more program dollars come back to us. So we get to, we get to keep that program income, I think. So.
Oh, it wasn't Tim. When I said he sent the update to me, it wasn't Tim, it was Jim Hasnick.
Yeah, and Jim, and that is the loan, right?
Yeah.
That is the loan program update.
From CEE.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I wonder, so that would be good to touch base with him, Thomas.
Jim Hasnick.
Yeah, why don't I send an email tomorrow morning just introducing you guys? Because I don't think he's heard from you yet. I haven't done that for the CEE folks yet. And then you can take it from there just as a formality, but
Sure.
if we could just refresh, and he sent some information here, but we should take a look at it. The program, make sure that it's funded properly, if we need to move some more money into it or something like that, and just, bring some fresh eyes onto it, especially if we're going to try and highlight it and get some more loans moving through there. Make sure that it's in good shape and not have, we had a little bit of a disruption for a time there because it ran out of money. Then we had to put more money in, and then there's just, it was a clerical thing.
Yeah,
But
I think you
We can
mentioned it
avoid
once.
that. Mhm.
And that Jim Hasnick is one of their representatives or a director or
I think he's one of the managers there.
manager. He's not.
He's the director of lending services.
Okay. So
But he works at the ground level with organizations like us, so they
Yeah.
probably don't have a super deep organization.
yeah, he might be a loan officer himself too.
Right. Mhm.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Do we want to piggyback at all off of this carnival atmosphere and do like, I know last year we did an ice cream social, and it might be a good time to like meet neighbors and have our own sort of like table or representation there.
I think so. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
I mean, if the traffic is there, like
For sure.
take advantage of it, right?
Yep. No, I
Yep.
think that's a great idea. It'll be interesting to see what their actual event plan looks like and some of the details behind it. But yeah, it'd be great to do something like that. And yeah, shows good faith on our part to be involved and, put some boots on the ground too.
Mhm.
Yeah. To sponsor and to serve ice cream at that would be really nice. And it would be fun.
Mhm.
Heck, I'd eat the ice cream.
Doug does not eat ice cream normally.
Doug's on ice cream duty.
Because it was really nice last year, especially we were coming out of, the depths of COVID, of like still being afraid to like walk within 6 feet of one another. And so it was kind of nice. It was a small gathering, and that was also to say like thanks to Gail. And so I don't know. I also think we should like have a guest spot with like a Gail update. She was involved for so long here.
Mhm.
I would love to see what she's up to. And I'm sure there are a lot of like neighbors that religiously come to these meetings that are like, hey, what's Gail doing?
I can give
Yeah.
you a little bit of an update because I called her W4's name. And so I wanted to check with her to see if she wanted to have those sent to her in Florida. So she's in Florida right now. And she called back with a very lengthy 2-part series message in return, and did ask for them to be sent to Florida because she's driving back and probably going to have her taxes postponed anyway. But it sounds like she's having a good time down there, and also at the same time looking forward to getting back. So yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, like as a part of a meeting sometime.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know what you meant.
You get the inside
neighbors.
scoop though.
Huh?
That's a good idea.
I do like, I think that it's nice. It's nice to like, she's our neighbor,
Mhm.
Yep, for sure.
And Doug, she was wondering, because I spoke with her on the phone too, as we were doing the ADP stuff. Did you and her go to first grade together at St. Charles?
Maybe. I don't know. Is she the one I wrote on her blouse and got in trouble?
Maybe, because she was like, well, who's on the board now? So I was
What,
running through it and I say Doug Boris. And she goes, well, I think I went to first grade with a Doug Boris.
What was her last name or maiden name?
Her last name now is Bonneville. Not sure the history on if there's a name change.
I don't know. I would love to find out. I think that would be kind of fun to find out. No, I have no
Stay
idea.
tuned. Stay
Yep.
tuned.
Very
We're gonna
exciting.
lead. We're gonna lead with the blouse though, Doug. So just before.
On her sleeve, on her sleeve.
Oh,
Got my crayons taken away.
Naughty, naughty.
good memory.
Well, it stuck with you to this day, so it was impactful.
Yeah. So just if I am talking with Pillsbury sometime soon, we're interested in tabling there, correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know if, it doesn't sound like they're thinking of it that way yet, but I can't imagine that they would
Yeah.
be opposed to having a canopy tent and a tabletop and some information.
However it takes form, that's to be determined, but yeah, something
Sure.
like that would be nice.
We'll have a beer cooler there.
Yeah,
There we
now you're
go. There we
talking.
go. Anything else on that front? When you said piggyback, my mind immediately went to movie afterwards, but that might have just been my propensity to want to pile on to an event.
Well, just also keep in mind though, it is a Friday.
The
Mhm.
Friday, yeah.
So there is that. I mean, like, I usually work on Fridays. I'll take a Friday off. But if we think about, like, there's a lot of working families who probably wouldn't be able to come to something like that because it's a Friday. So
Yeah.
so we can keep that in mind as far as like a community engagement. Maybe we also have like something else on a Saturday. I don't know. Or I mean, and there are people who work Saturdays too. So, there's no way to really guarantee you'll get everyone's availability.
But you definitely notch it down when it's on during work hours. That might be worth pointing out, because I think they're just going with the history of when it's always been scheduled. So
There
they
would
might not-
definitely be a lot more people who'd be able to go on a Saturday morning. Probably,
Yeah, for sure. I'll bring that up with them and just see if they've thought that through, or if that's just not been part of their thinking
just the
yet.
tradition.
Right.
And then
they're-
it's probably like the teachers who, take part, they're probably like, this is, we have our weekends. They're kind of, I don't know what their thinking is, but yeah, I would, if they wanted it to be more community engagement, I would argue for a Saturday.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna
maybe
jump in
push
though.
I'll
Let's,
push this out to maybe 8 o'clock,
yeah.
8:30, something like that,
I'm gonna jump in. I'd like to, good conversation, but just to keep us moving, because this thing might take a little bit of time here. So if that's okay. I'm gonna share my screen again. So this is the annual participation report for the CPP program. A little bit of history is just that since we've been part of funded by the city of Minneapolis, it acts like a pseudo grant program, right? And we just need to provide some annual reporting on what our activities have yielded from the dollars. So this is the final one that we'll be doing as part of the sunsetting of the CPP program. They did not do one last year because of COVID. It just didn't happen. So this, I think, sort of encompasses both years of 2020 and 21. It's been a different form. It's been like a paper form in the past, doesn't really matter, but I've started it here and have a couple bits of information in, just our contact information. We're doing it through SurveyMonkey this year. This is where we'll put our date board of approval. I think I'm just going to put the date in right now because we'll approve it. This is our staff. We have Thomas Ebert on here, and I put a note that Gail Bonneville was our paid employee who worked part-time but retired. And then we've taken over administrative functions as a board in the interim. We do not have any other paid employees. And then these questions here, there's 22 of them, although some of them jump into each other or relate to one another. So these are all of the questions. This is the complete form. So once we get down to the bottom here, it's basically that's it. And then like a major highlight. So we can run through some of these. I don't know if you guys can see it. There we go.
Yeah.
So is this pertaining to 2019 only?
20,
Because the next page said 2020 to 2021,
right.
and I can't really speak to 2019 at all.
I think this 19 is probably not right, because this right
I
here
think
says
it's-
20
yeah,
to
that's-
21.
I think
So
it's
you think
just
it's
like,
a typo?
yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's just like the form we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this would encompass basically the COVID years.
Gotcha.
So 8 number meetings, we held regular committee meetings that were open to everybody, held at least one general membership meeting. Yep, we held 12 of them. We hosted at least one general membership meeting in response to a city request for input, which would be yes, because I'm sure that must have been the case. Oh, well, we had Livable Lowry folks were on.
Hmm.
That
Oh, yeah,
counts.
and we did several for Johnson.
Yep, there you go.
Hmm.
And conducted one or more focus groups. I don't think we did any focus group. Is there anything that might qualify as a focus group activity?
We had that one, I don't know, was it a focus group?
Yeah.
Remember back?
Yeah,
where-
remember you had that monkey, what's it called? The survey monkey?
Yeah, that was
We were voting for things, but it was like, where would you like to have this funding put?
Oh.
Remember?
yep.
That counts,
And we also did that at the Gale retirement thing too.
right?
Yeah, so
I think
it was
that counts.
related to how we might spend the dollars related to Wyndham Park.
Yeah, we asked people to rank their preferences.
Perfect. So door to door, door knocking. We did not do any door knocking. Is there anything we did that might be considered door knocking?
Did Gail maybe do any outreach to neighbors via email or phone call?
Well, this is face-to-face engagement.
Face-to-face. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that,
So we just had that thing in the park last year, right? That was face to face.
Mhm.
I don't think that'll count though. I think the intent here is going to people instead of people coming to us.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I don't think we did. That's side note, Thomas, this is on our new neighborhood network equitable engagement fund plan is getting some of this going. So we
Mhm.
haven't done any historically, but it's on our plan now for this coming year.
That's great.
Okay, so I don't think we did any there. We're gonna say 0.
Yeah.
Flyering, which we definitely did at least
Well,
once reaching.
did we drop literature at doors? Do mailings count as dropping literature at doors?
I think so, yeah.
And neighborhood information gets delivered directly to the resident with information about what the meeting's agenda are.
How many household did you reach? 6,000.
This is at least once reaching a portion of the neighborhood, most or all of the neighborhood, which we anticipate. We haven't seen the mailing list specifically, but that's been handled through Do Good, and we've refreshed our list recently.
Hmm.
Increased membership and participation. And I think that could be, this last one I think counts too, based on like what we said about the park funding and stuff. We were flyering to get people to come to the meeting to provide input.
Mhm. Mhm.
Total for both years. Is it each instance of it? 6,000 plus each time? Times 12?
This is a question we've run into before, and I'm inclined to say yes, that it's each year. Well, how many households? It'd be 6,000 times
12.
12 times 2.
Yeah.
But then a household is
Well-
still only one household.
I would still look at the do good business invoice, because that tells us, I think, how many that they've actually sent stuff to.
Wonder if I have one. Thad, here's an invoice.
I would see that would be 144,000.
If there's only 6,000 in Wyndham Park, though, it's kind of hard to.
This says 3,153 pieces.
Yeah,
Oh.
so I'd say, yeah, about 3,000 plus or minus is probably what you're looking at per month.
36,
So if we do 3,100 times,
72,000. Oh, sorry, I just rounded down to 3,000.
yeah. Because we're doing monthlies until just this year of 2022, calendar year 2022. So yeah, going 12 per year makes sense. So 74,000, Thomas.
Yeah, I think that's if you included that 3 and change per month.
Yep. Okay. Events. We did that one time.
Yep.
Organized. Smaller events. Did we do any tabling at farmers markets through
Yeah,
last year? I know we intended to. I think we could say that we did.
2020. Yeah, we did in 2020.
Okay.
Andy and I did. We were at the farmer's market, and when was Open Streets was 2019.
Right.
Number of subscribers to our email list is, I think it's about 425. And this one is not many. Gosh, I'm going to say 15. I'm going to round up and say 15. Everybody go like our stuff. real quick.
Sad.
Oh, that yes, sad emoji.
The cry.
Room for improvement is what we say.
Other activities, community-wide survey.
I
That one's
mean,
questionable.
it went out with the flyer, right? The Survey Monkey, is it Survey Monkey or Survey Chimp or whatever it's
Yeah.
called? Like it went out.
But we already took credit for that.
Yeah,
Really?
that's what
It
I was thinking
applies.
too.
It still applies.
I think it could probably apply. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think we can double dip on that one? Because
Yeah.
that would be the only case where we did something like that.
Yes, I think it counts.
I think so.
Okay.
I also don't think they're going to get,
I don't
Yeah.
think they're gonna come back and
Show us the receipt. Like
Yeah.
what?
We didn't do an intercept survey. Did we do any other activities? Communication related activities? Sent regular monthly email blasts out to our subscriber base. Feedback to neighborhood issues. And other input.
Yeah.
Um,
crisis adaptation.
well, we tried reaching out to some businesses, but didn't get very far on that. I don't know if we can really count that. I think maybe we'll just leave it at that. Any other thoughts there from anybody?
Does the school count as a developing a partnership?
It would, but we didn't really do that until now. We haven't really been in touch with the school too much. Adapt to issues, staff working from home, close the office. We did not furlough, we went online. Did we cancel?
We didn't have a holiday thing.
Yeah.
Canceled, yep, door knocked. We did one of those outside, so the outdoor meeting. We have not done an indoor one yet. And any other adaptations?
We subscribe to Zoom. Would that? That's
Yep.
Oh, you could do the closed captioning? Recording meetings?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
And included closed captioning
feature.
feature. There you go.
We put on our cards that that if you speak Spanish, you're welcome. I'm not sure what that ever meant, but we said it.
That
That's
wasn't
more
in
tongue in cheek. That's more
Yeah.
tongue in cheek.
Yeah, and that wasn't in response to COVID either, specifically to this question.
Right.
I think we'll just leave that maybe. How did you connect with your community about important information? Email blast, flyer, postcards, special page on website.
Northeaster.
Yep. Other, yep.
Sorry, what did we do in the Northeaster?
We did a
Advertise.
story about Gail and retiring first.
Oh,
Yep.
right.
And then
Yeah,
also
yeah,
advertise for the open position.
right.
How did you find the position, Thomas?
Well, I had been stalking a little bit, to be honest. I knew that Gail, I remembered that she had retired, and I was looking on Indeed probably every couple of weeks. And but then ultimately it was Robert's email out to the community. I think probably just the regular email blast.
Cool.
Yeah.
Issues affected our community. They needed PPE. Businesses were damaged on Central, weren't they, during some of the protest activity?
Yep.
Food insecurity, housing insecurity. I don't know
Yeah,
if we had
we
any
had almost-
encampments.
Yeah, we had almost an entire meeting on encampments. Remember that? Or the questions from the community took up a big part of encampments took a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say
Increased-
too, just for people's knowledge, we did have an encampment in Wyndham Park, on and off, even this past summer too.
Oh.
Yep.
I know there's some big ones that have lingered in other areas right around us, but I didn't know about the Wyndham Park, I guess.
It was just a couple,
Sure.
a single couple, yeah.
Increased crime, I think, yes.
There was an attempted carjacking in front of my house
Mhm.
on a Friday afternoon at like 1:30.
And then we had that like trash dumping thing going on near the park too for a while. That must have gotten resolved.
Oh, you know what? So that was that encampment, I bet,
Well,
on the west side.
I don't think so, because we got a call. I think those are unrelated. We got a call that
Yeah.
there were some young people in like a car throwing
Right,
trash
this was
out. and-
related to basketball and
Oh,
late night activities.
Mhm.
the south end, yeah.
Yeah.
This almost certainly happened.
Yep.
I'm sure there were others, right? I don't know what, everything that happened. I think we'll just leave that. Create initiatives and projects or share information with other organizations that were developed in response to with other organizations. Yes, because we shared information from the city on behalf of all this stuff, didn't we? COVID-19.
We shared like information about where you can get tests and how
Mhm.
you can get immunized. We had
I would do that one. Because we had a meeting about that and talked about that. Civil unrest.
I mean, I know that we talked about I think the police station's high barbed wire count that
Yeah.
Does anyone have any understanding of how and when that decision was made to take that down? I was kind of on the cusp of writing Elliot's office to say, hey, here's an easy win for you guys
Mhm.
coming into the office.
Is it still up? I don't know what
No.
condition it's in.
No,
It's
it's
down.
down.
It's gone.
It's
It's-
down.
Maybe about a month or so.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say about, 3 weeks to a month, maybe.
I don't think we did any of the rest of these. One story about a project or initiative in response to the various crises of 2020, 2021.
I mean, we routinely shared information in our meetings about, the way you can find information.
We also had the guy from
Yeah,
Mike,
From what?
the what's the word here? I think his name was Mike, but it was like a renter protection program.
Oh, yeah, Homeline.
Homeline, yep.
Nice.
Info.
That's a Minneapolis outfit.
It's yeah, they specialize in helping renters specifically with
Mhm.
rent issues and landlord issues, and it's a very good resource for people who have questions about, hey, my landlord is doing this, can they do this, or can they raise my rent this much, or they won't
Yeah,
this problem, what can I do? They're really good resource.
right. That's great.
And it's free.
And
It's free. Wow.
What about that art project with Witsiasco at Central and Lowry?
yep,
Can we count that as some kind of a,
yeah. Carry on Homes.
Carry on Homes?
Yep, great call. Because it supported artists through the pandemic that wouldn't probably have other.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then it also told about their stories because it was focused on immigrant communities. To install a special art installation to,
Support artists, yeah.
yeah,
Did someone say there's a development proposal for that corner?
yeah, as part of the, it's not even really a proposal yet. It's just sort of in the conversation as part of the Lowry and Central reconstruction activity.
Kind of a placeholder.
Yeah, it's been on the books for ages. There's no plans, there's no anything on it other than that, though.
But, that'll be weird someday to there'll be something there.
Yeah,
It's just been open forever.
let me see. We partnered with Carry On Homes to install a special art installation highlighting the immigrant experience through art.
Yeah.
I'm sort of like saying the same words over and over again, but
Install an installation. Is that what you mean?
yeah. Close enough. Any other ideas there?
Maybe the special art installation could be a special art project.
Yeah, yeah, good.
In terms of estimating volunteer hours, I mean, it's 4 hours for each of you per month.
Yeah, at least. So if
Yeah,
we start
as a
there, it'd
baseline.
be, so if we say an average of 6 board members for the past 2 years, it'd be 4 times 6 times what, 24?
Mhm.
576. So maybe we're just round up to 580. And then Joe and I have put in quite a bit over the last half a year.
Quite a bit. Yeah, you guys you probably could double that right there.
So I'm going to put in 580 here as just our number.
And then you've got like the different things like the biking, the
Mhm.
the Earth Day,
Oh, yeah, we should do
the
the
park.
biking.
the park
Um,
thing where we're the ice cream social.
Initiated, coordinated.
The ice cream social was on a general meeting night, right?
Well,
When that,
yeah, I think it was, but it definitely lasted longer than a normal meeting.
okay.
And then we have to include all of the Lowry things that we've gone to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because if we go, so July is when, July 1st is when Gale was done. So it's July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So that'd be 8 months.
Eight.
Joe, do you think it was 4 hours a week?
Easy. Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
4 is good.
Let's go 4 times 4. So let's say it's 16 hours per month times 8, times 2. So an additional 256 for us.
Jeez, you guys are incredible.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it like that.
Yeah, well done.
Plus 580.
Doug
that's-
and Andy, don't run away. Don't be scared. Looks like a really scary number, but
Next.
don't run away.
And then Tim put in probably, I think 4 hours on the biking total. Livable Lowry is what, 3 times 3 would be 9 for the 3 of us that went that one time, and then another, I don't know, we'll say 20 hours on that, 860. Hiring, so Doug and Andy, we all sort of
Reading.
sat in on some calls for another 8 hours. It's probably about right.
Round it up to 900.
Yeah.
Just to make it look suspicious.
Yeah. Let's
Well,
do
8
875.
Yeah, 868 is too precise. It's, what? Sure it wasn't 867.5?
Do you guys have box elder bugs that are coming to life? And they're
Yeah.
My
like
dad's house
invading,
does though.
Yes.
they're invading my house.
Yes,
Yes.
it's
They,
like,
like-
did they were they frozen all winter?
Yes, I think
We-
they do because
We had a wasp yesterday.
they sneak in, and it's like, in Top Gun where they do the fly by the tower. I'm like constantly like every so often I'm like ducking because there's one that comes like a chopper toward my head. I'm like, what is happening? I don't
Toxic
remember it ever being
flybys.
this
Yes.
bad before.
My cat loves them. It's the,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, likes playing with them.
Yeah, my cats are on high alert.
Yeah.
I had to like go off of video one time because one flew at me and he freaked out and like almost jumped at my head. My dog did. So
That's
anyway.
great. One side note, I feel like I wonder, once we're done with this and it's submitted, and once they're done getting this from all the neighborhood associations, I imagine this form will go away. I feel like this could be a good guidance for some of our future activities,
Mhm.
because I'm just seeing as we've scrolled down through here, there's some things that we haven't done.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I wonder, maybe we do a screenshot before they take it down, or I guess we could just ask for it too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or this should be basically how you apply for money. I mean,
Mhm.
this would be a kind of an outline of what we would put in for some kind of funding request. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
not being funny, but I mean, this would be it.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
Sure.
clearly what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe I just grab it. I'm sure it'll be available in some other way, but maybe I just copy and paste it even.
Yeah.
I'll just grab it quick. That's a
works.
great thought.
Couple different utilities.
So I was going through here and looking at this last section of multiple languages. We're soft on that, but we qualify because it was on the postcard. Targeted to apartment blocks to reach renters, and I think that maybe just fits within our general mailing, although it's, again, it's a little light. Meeting formats for underrepresented communities. In this case, I was thinking the Homeline guy, trying to reach out to renters and especially low-income renters, although we didn't really get anybody on the call, but that's
An attempt.
that's outside of our control in some ways. This one was the same reason for us. So Mike with Homeline.
Right.
Didn't do that. We did this because we set up the NRP committee. I think that was in 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because that was after I came on as chair, so
Right.
that counts. And then I don't know about that one. We did a pop-up, but that was at the park, and I don't know if that would really count.
I mean, it's not really applicable, like the concept of a neighborhood that doesn't have, like Wyndham Park is what it is. Like, I'm not sure that there's a part that's like.
Well, in my mind, like a pop-up event down at the apartment complex behind the quarry.
Right.
Would probably fall more into something like that. Wyndham Park's a little bit more unique of a situation than some neighborhoods in Minneapolis. I think you're right there.
I guess we do have that little triangle area.
Doug represents those guys pretty well, though, so he's got
Yeah.
that on lock.
There's a guy who is named Ryan. He's a baker and he has like a Facebook page called The Nerdy Baker. And he lives up in that area. I picked up a key lime pie once from him.
Oh,
Do you know what his last name is?
Says Narek.
I feel like that's someone that's a tool library member.
He probably is.
Anything we'd like to tell NCR about stakeholder involvement or anything that we're doing new or particularly successful to reach residents? I think we're pretty light, but we're excited about new initiatives, right?
I know I mentioned like this was a while back when I was like hopeful and young, but I was talking Thomas about like us having some sort of an event where we partner with the tool library to like have a class about how to make a raised bed garden, something like that. Just like it might be something fun, community wise. I just mention it because.
Well, that's a good one. I think we can put that in somewhere, but that's probably not this one just because.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't done it yet.
We should definitely do that though, Tara. I know that our executive director would be all over that.
We had our sidewalks resurfaced and that got everybody all excited to participate.
Yeah, if they tore up Johnson again, we'd have like a crash. Although Lowry, I have a feeling Lowry is going to get a lot of, and maybe we should plan around that is like having more Lowry, like focused information.
Yeah.
Because that's going to get torn up, I guess, pretty soon here.
next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
People
is
are
something.
not ready for that.
I was gonna say that is something that we do need to get ahead of, just to prepare people. You could see what Johnson did to the side streets, and some of the reactions of neighbors to that increased activity, automobile activity, and I think there was some successful deterrents that were put in place to make it continuing to make it walkable and bikeable. So it would be good to get ahead of that on Lowry.
Major highlights.
We survived.
Yeah.
No, I think one of the things that's really good is we have sort of reimagined what the board means. And we're sort of shaping it into a future organization that's not so, I'm trying to find the right word, inflexible, sort of.
We're open.
More inclusive, attempting to be more inclusive. I'm not saying that people in the past were not attempting to be inclusive, but like having it be a focus, I think is new.
Well, and I really don't want this to be an attempt to toot my horn. I think you guys have envisioned something different for my position here. You know, and that's pretty meaningful. And that I think that initiative probably started in this time frame, no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Halfway out of necessity.
Yeah.
And desire though too.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a little hesitant about this one just because if they came back and said, oh, that sounds pretty good. What did you guys do to reimagine what the board means? Tell us more.
So we allowed it to not be this formulaic monthly thing that we were beholden to,
Yeah. You bought yourself some opportunity to be involved in other than just meetings.
Mhm.
in meetings to plan the meetings. That's kind of what
Right.
it felt like it was getting. And I'm sure it's been like that for a long time.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
I get your point, Robert, but maybe built in more flexibility into what being a board member means.
Yep. Let's go how the board functions and have allowed and in changing our bylaws. Our organization, more flexibility. Community.
Mhm.
We resurfaced our court.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think at this point, maybe you could talk about like made a concerted effort using the funds that are available to us that have basically been dormantly just relaxing, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
And I definitely think you should put the Carry On Homes project there. I think that's also, I think probably what they're looking for is that kind of a visual representation and tangible
Rain gardens,
public space.
rain gardens.
Carry On Homes project brought allowed the project to move forward. I don't think it would have gone without our funding.
No, it was definitely a but for our funding project.
That's cool.
Visibility and livelihood. How do I spell that? Livelihood.
Needed an E,
Yeah.
live.
Oh, there we go.
Each reiteration of those made sense to me, though.
Yeah, it also brought support to the Northeast artists.
Mhm. Central Ave. Are they Central Ave and Lowry Ave? Is Aves
Yeah,
that
it was
intersect each other?
Central.
That's right.
That's weird. I never
Yeah, it
noticed
is.
that before.
Yeah. It's strange.
We have continued to a successful rain garden construction program.
How many would you say that were done in 2020 and 2021 so far? I mean, we can actually quantify it
Yeah,
rather than a,
well, was it 8 and 8
8.
or 8 and 10?
I think it's 8 and 10.
I think that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and there's some,
18.
yeah, you could probably look, yeah. Average size, yeah, there's,
There's actual numbers.
yeah.
That would be cool,
it.
just taking that a step further for our own promotion to see if Jen from Metro Blooms has an idea of how much water that offsets on a given year.
Yeah, stormwater, yeah, stormwater offset, that's a big,
You know, which reminds me too, Joe, you and I had talked about those kind of funding opportunities through your old outfit at the EPA.
Yeah.
We should bring that up at another board meeting sometime.
yeah. Absolutely.
I was also going to say in the information gathering and communication process for construction projects. Johnson Street Northeast, Lowry Ave, Northeast, 18th Avenue Northeast.
I-35.
and- Yep, I-35W. That's pretty good. I feel good about that. Any other thoughts in that section?
I mean, we didn't, I don't know if you want to highlight like spending down money and getting it into the neighborhood. I don't know.
I think I touched on that here just in this first part, but
It's certainly
It
a
might not be
receptive
wise to
audience.
highlight our surplus.
That's true.
Well, it's like we're not sitting on a mountain of gold. It's like getting out into the community.
Oh, yeah,
That's all I'm saying. It's
but we
Which-
are a target. We are a target. We have a big bullseye on our back for the rest of the organizations in the city.
those are good ones though. I feel pretty good about that.
Do you want to, Robert, do you want to say anything about the NRP? Oh, okay, you did. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, let's say including forming a committee, neighborhood committee,
That works.
and a major funding reorganization. Yeah,
Yeah, I missed that. Thank you.
yep,
I like it.
okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Good stuff.
Upload a
to
digital
have.
photo, video, or illustration. I don't think we have anything ready. I don't want to make anything.
Oh, photos? No.
Yeah. I think we have everything, and I put the date in earlier that we did this, so everybody good with that? We get a thumb of approval. Done. And look
Oh,
at
wait.
this. We're gonna go over here and we're gonna
I'm
go
just kidding.
322.
Don't do that, Tara.
I
Done.
know, I can help it. It's 9
Excellent.
o'clock, guys.
Yep. Okay, I don't think we're gonna get to the new member onboarding packet unless Doug and Andy and Thomas really have want to sit through another half hour of me talking. Let's scratch this
How
one.
do you really feel, Doug?
I had to mute myself.
That was good. The annual report was for me the big takeaway, although we covered a lot of good ground today. So I think we're just about ready to wrap here. Coming up, we do not have a neighborhood meeting in April, but we do have a board meeting. So that will be the fourth Tuesday, which is Tuesday, April 26th at 7 p.m. Do we still want to continue meeting via Zoom, or do we want to meet in person? We've sort of been kicking the can on it, but we don't have to decide now. I'm of the favor of getting together in person, but we also have
I
to
agree.
have welcome happy hour for Thomas at some point. Thomas, are you a beer drinker?
I am.
Okay. Assuming everybody else is too, although you do not have to be, that is not a requirement.
There's a few of them that I would turn away.
Yeah. So let's think about that, because I think that'd be fun. I'd like to see some of you folks in person. Doug, I've seen you recently. Andy, have I met you in person? I don't think so.
No, certainly not.
Yeah, so that'd be fun. So let's look at maybe the week of
I can
April
vouch for
4th.
Andy's realness.
Yeah.
We
Maybe the
could,
week of April 4th to find a date.
we could meet at like the mill or something,
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
Fair State,
yeah.
or Fair State, although, yeah. Yes.
And then what else? Coming up, we just have a bunch of action items to tackle. Administrative stuff with Thomas. We have rain garden stuff. We have some of the CPP transition that we'll need to cover. And there's just some tasks, not a ton left as part of the transition, but that's just what's going on. We do have one other item that we're not going to talk about today, but the court mural project with MPRB. She got back to me, Colleen, and if we, which I think we do, but we wanted to move it from the court surface to the back wall on the court, and that technically makes it a separate project from their mural project. So the scope of that isn't necessarily constrained by the timelines of that. And so sort of ongoing, because she hasn't gotten back to me when I had some questions. She's a little bit slow in her responses. So I just want to let you guys know that that's just still being worked through. I think
That's
that
a
could be
mural.
maybe a, what's that?
Sorry. That's a mural project for the tennis courts?
Yeah. The
Okay.
city is, because we got it resurfaced, we qualify for this program that the city is working on where we would find an artist to paint a big mural on the court. Since it's brand new, we didn't necessarily want to just paint over it right away. But instead there's that big boring cement retaining wall, which I think would be a much more fun place to put a mural.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that shakes out.
So the parks did respond, I saw, with a kind of lackluster, the surface cracking is to be expected.
Yeah,
which
we'll have to
seems-
see how it makes it through the springtime. There's some stuff. Chris said that he would reach out to the resurfacing company, and then we'll take a look at it right away in the spring too, if there's something they can do. So the deal there is that the cracks started reforming, but the surface is more impervious than the underlying structure. And if the cracks are deep enough, there's to be expected some shifting and expanding and stuff like that. So it's normal as long as it doesn't get too bad, then it shouldn't affect play. But they're going to take a look at it this spring.
I think we should push a little bit on that, because just for everybody's background, I noticed cracking on the resurfacing. I think it was maybe the next month or two after it was done. And some of them were upwards of 1/4 of an inch. So yeah, it makes sense that it's to be expected to some degree, but it seems pretty prevalent to me, and I can only imagine it to get worse with water cracking and ice heaving and thawing.
Sure.
We'll see what they say.
All right. Anything else from the group?
Is there anything that I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing? I think you leave me out of a lot of stuff, but I'm okay with that too. Like, you guys seem to have it handled, but if there's anything you need help with, obviously.
You were taking minutes tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the only thing would be, and we talked about this a little bit, but do we need her as a second signer for Joe?
yeah, we do, we really do,
Well, we said that a couple months ago, but then it's sort of like, meh.
yeah.
But we don't need to resolve it tonight, but
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing is having a second set of eyes. Now that Thomas is in, that's a little bit more redundancy, and we have Tim Dornfield as well. But in case something happened to Joe, Thomas isn't a sign. Nobody else is a signer. So for bigger picture stuff, we should get you on there if you're willing to take that role. And then we have a little bit more redundancy and security in the organization. So that specific process, now that Thomas is in place, we're just tightening up and taking a look at how we want some of these procedures to go. But it'd be good to get you down there. And do you have to do it in person, Joe, or can you do it via email?
Yeah.
it's fine.
It'd be easier to do it in person.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So Thomas, let's you and I find a time maybe this week yet to get together. I need to finish your onboarding and do some last, just sign off on a couple things for you. And then we'll talk about this with you, Tara, as a second signer and stuff, and get that squared away in the next 2 weeks here.
That sounds
Cool.
good.
Okay. I think that's it. Good meeting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks.
everybody.
Joe.
Appreciate your
Yeah.
time. We'll talk to you guys later.
Robert, we can just reconnect about that training
Okay, great.
another time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can just send it out to you guys too, but it's nice to sometimes talk through it, but yeah, we'll
Sure.
find a time.
I think a
Okay.
fair state meeting would be good.
There you go.
Talking.
I like it.
See you guys. See everybody.
Bye, guys.
Take care,
Bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Right.